That's right. For those who aren't aware, Call of Duty Vanguard has been released recently. And I figured what better way to celebrate than to show off some World War II guns. As you can tell, it's going to be a multi-part series, just like my Battlefield 1 thing from last year. Anyway, roll the intro. Greetings, comrades! This is Sergey Kilimov. Welcome back to another H3VR video. Update 100 is still in alpha. I'm sure it's only a matter of time until it's actually released. I figured in the meantime, let's go and show off some World War II guns, because as I mentioned in the intro, Call of Duty Vanguard recently came out, and honestly, I'm not really interested in that. I'm only interested in Modern Warfare, but figured, it's time to show off some World War II guns, because can you believe it? It's been well over 75 years since the end of World War II. It wasn't that long ago that these weapons saw a lot of use in the battlefield. Now, I want to keep in mind, not all these guns are from Vanguard, from what I see in IMFDB, but I want to show them off anyway, because there's so many World War II guns, I figured, why not just show them off? Now, a few of these you've probably already seen already, such as the good old 1911. This is the A1 version, of course. This was a more prominent model that was used during World War II. And naturally, 45 ACP, classic gun. It's my first H3VR video, so check that out if you're more interested in that. And I believe I showed off this one too, the Luger P08. Yes, workhorse pistol of the German military, even during World War II, even when it was eventually supplanted by the Walther P38, which naturally, Brian will explain it.
The Walther P38 is a semi-automatic pistol that was developed in 1938, but did not enter full-scale production until 1940. It was the first pistol to use a locked breech action, as well as a double-action/single-action trigger. The hammer rests while a round is chambered, then pulling the trigger would fire the pistol in double-action mode, while follow-up shots were single-action. The DAS system has been in countless other semi-auto pistols ever since.
Yes, almost looks like a gun that a certain secret agent uses, but might show that off later. For now, I've got the Luger P08, as well as the longer-barreled PL08. If I remember that correctly in the spawner. But anyway, yes. Very interesting looking pistol. As you see, the charge, instead of a slide, you get this weird charging handle that extends like that. Pretty interesting. Of course, got the safety there. But anyway, I'll know this one, 9x19mm. Interesting little magazine. And this design would eventually be used for the Ruger 22 LR pistols. Minus the charging handle has to be over here, but anyway. Really interesting design. Of course, the longer barreled LP08 can be outfitted with a stock and a much larger magazine. Though, unlike the Mauser over there, you're still restricted to semi-auto. Only difference, you have a longer barrel than the regular Luger. And again, the stock magazine give you a little more controllability. I'm actually not going to fire this whole thing. We move on to the other guns. Of course, I showed off the Mauser on the Battlefield 1 video. Like the LP08, comes with the stock, and has a few different size magazines. And of course, unlike the Luger, which is chambered in 9x19, this is chambered in a much larger, I guess more powerful, 7.63x25 Mauser. And of course, as I showed off in that video, you have the magazine, but you also use stripper clips to place the gun if you don't want to don't want to take the magazine out. And nice little trick up its sleeve, as I probably mentioned. it can go full auto. Just flip that switch there. Make sure it's on. That's a safety. Also, it's chambered. It's chambered. That's right. This is the machine pistol in Vanguard, as well as World War II, the game before it. It's actually an amalgamation of different Mausers, which check out IMFDB if you're interested. Yeah, if you don't feel like taking out the magazine, just get these stripper clips, fill it in this way. 40 rounder in here, 4 stripper clips, and more photo joy. Very nice. Now, let's get to a few guns I haven't shown off yet. As Brian Roy mentioned, P38. You also got a snub version, if you're interested in that. Obviously, same as this, just with the barrel cut down. And modified front sight, because you can see, the front sight here is actually near the muzzle of the barrel. Whereas here, right there. Going this. Eight rounds. It's hard to believe that this was one of the pistols that would help revolutionize, you know, handguns as we know them today. Of course, this came well over 3 decades before that. And just for the sake of it, the snub version. Again, same gun, shorter barrel. There we go. And I believe I showed this one off as well, but in case you're not aware, this is the Tokarev TT33. Brian?
The Tokarev TT33 was developed in 1930 as the TT30. It received a few modifications, such as a newer firing mechanism and the removal of the cover on the back of the grip. It was meant to replace the Nugent M1897 revolver, but production wasn't sufficient enough to replace them. The 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev round is based on the Mauser round, but loaded to higher pressure levels. Fun fact, the TT33 has no safety.
That's right. Very classic pistol. Of course, when you think Russian pistols, you think of the good old Makarov, aka Psychov, in Modern Warfare 2019. Chambered a 9x18mm Makarov. Well, TT33 here uses a 7.62 by 25, which, of course, if you know your gun lingo, is the same ammunition the good old PPSH-41 uses. Of course, we'll be showing off the SMGs in a later video, because there are a ton of SMGs from World War II in this game, and I want to give it its own separate video, as well as bolt-action rifles. For those who aren't wearing World War II, you know, assault rifles were a fairly new thing. They didn't show up until later on in the war, and even then, it was kind of a short supply. It wasn't until like Korea and Vietnam that they became a little more prominent. But up until that point, it was bolt-action rifles and SMGs. And of course, the occasional pistol fight. But of course, pretty interesting shape for the Tokarev. You can almost tell just by looking at it that it almost looks like a weird-looking 1911, though that might not be completely true. Oh. Again, always forget to chamber the round. Let's do that Sosig over there. Interesting fact, this weapon is also used by the Viet Cong during the Vietnam War. There's a bit of trivia there. Let's face it, they used a lot of Russian firearms. It was a proxy war after all. There we go. Tokarev in the books. And again, we'll show off the SMGs later, because again, SMGs were a very prominent weapon during World War II. That and the bolt actions, which they'll both get their own separate videos. So, in fact, SMGs will be the next video. So there, no spoiler. And if I gotta do shotguns, because, well, from what I've seen, there are only 2 shotguns in Vanguard that are also H3VR. And I believe I showed these off already, but I'll show them off anyway. The M1897 Trench Gun, of course. Good old tried and true 12 gauge. Which I actually forgot how many shells it holds. Because it's been a while since I fired it. It's all about the AA-12 and, you know, those break actions for me. That's 5. Yeah. 5 in the tube, 1 in the chamber. And of course, this is one of the earlier shotguns out there. At least one of the earliest pump actions I'm aware of. Before then, shotguns were break action, and we didn't really see these tube-fed ones till later on. There's this, and the Auto 5, which I'll show off later. Yeah, nice, reliable gun. But of course, you want something a little faster firing, and the Auto 5 is for you. As the name suggests, 5 rounds. 4 in the tube, 1 in the chamber. Now, smaller ammo capacity than the 1897, but it has one major advantage. It's semi-automatic. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, those are the pistols and shotguns of World War II. And I double checked. There weren't too many of these guns here that World War II. There's some that did see service in World War II, but not that many. Most of these are already covered in the Battlefield 1 series of videos, such as the Borchardt, the Bergman, and technically there's this as well, the C96 Mauser, but that's technically a machine pistol, that's why I brought this one out. But it's largely the same weapon, just without the full auto capabilities. Of course, 1911, you already know about that. But yeah, not very many pistols from the World War II era here, but, as I mentioned, SMGs really prominent, and there are quite a few in here. Now, some of these aren't in Vanguard, and I'm not sure if they're in World War II as well, the game I should say, but there are a lot of them. A bunch of different Stens. Of course, I already covered the PPSH, but I'm going to show it off again anyway, because PPSH. So yeah, quite a few different SMGs in the World War II scene. I'm going to be showing those off in the next video. For part 3, we're going to be doing, well, rifles. As well as the one lone assault rifle that was made in World War II. And it helped change face firearms forever. But that's for another time. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Look for the next one. Until then, that's been done. Yeah.